Coast to coast today on a Flame Tech Football Friday, and we're going to dive right into it. I'm very excited to welcome Drew Tate. CFL fans don't need any introduction to him. I'll read it anyways. 07-08 with Saskatchewan, 09 to 2016 with the Stamps, 2017 with the Red Blacks, and for a brief time in 2018 with the Rough Riders, two-time Grey Cup champion. But what has us excited, Coach Tate, is you join us from the San Antonio bubble. You're the assistant coach of the 1-1 Alphas. I watched it, man. I love the Spring League. Are you having as much fun as you look to be in the Spring League?
It's awesome. That's what the Spring League's for, right? It's an opportunity for these young players to get on film, get an opportunity to try to get into a league that, because they want to continue their career. And then on the flip side, it's an opportunity for me as a young coach to get experience, coaching receivers, tight ends, running backs. And so it's awesome. And then there's a lot of older coaches with big names, like our head coach, Steve Fairchild. I mean, his resume is amazing. So it's actually really neat to be able to just sit and listen to him talk, talk ball and see how he sees the field and everything. So it's been awesome so far.
Yeah, of course. And Gil Bride and Jerry Glanville. And I'm expecting to see Steve Spurrier come out at some point and so forth. But before we get into the games and the personalities and so forth, how did this come about for you? Because the last time we had you on, you were coaching high school. And then the next thing I know, you're in the Spring League. What happened in between?
Yeah, well, I was working on my certification to teach and coach in high school, and right when that was starting, I got a call from a friend of mine who coaches in the CFL, and he said, "Hey, there's this Spring League. I didn't know anything about it. I'd heard about it, and this was about a week before we started. So he called and said, "Hey, do you want to coach receivers? And this." And I said, "Well, hell yeah. I think it'd be awesome." So then, about 5 days later, shot over here to San Antonio, and then we've been rolling ever since.
Sean Lynch here. Wait, do you keep in touch much with the Hawkeyes of Iowa and how they're doing down there?
I do. I try to as much as I can. Unfortunately, it's not the best time to be an Iowa Hawkeye, it seems, right now. But no, I think they're going to come out. They got Michigan State this week, but they've had let's just say it's been an unusual year for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They usually don't have years like this as far as, attention, good or bad. So it's just, I think they're trying to figure it out too, as well as a lot of these teams are, especially during this pandemic and then the movement and all that, right? So I think there's a lot going on there, but, I'm definitely there. I'm always going to be a Hawkeye. So I'm there for, any kind of support, aim to please for those guys. So. See.
What about the CFL? Were you surprised it didn't play this year?
No, I wasn't surprised, to be honest. And we had talked about it last time with Rod, too. And just from a logistics standpoint, I'm sure it was just a nightmare, honestly. I know this, it's already, the CFL already has enough challenges in itself, and then throwing a pandemic and then having – the majority of the players or half the team is American. And then, with laws in Canada, it's just seemed like a long shot. And then, the whole thing with the commissioner, I mean, that was just a Hail Mary, basically. So, didn't work out.
No, and the thing is, I brought you on to talk about the Spring League. So from our viewers, Armando's watching in Mexico. He's a football reporter down there, the Liga Football Americano. He says the Spring League is such a good idea. They also have a handful of global players. He says Japanese and Mexican. So I'm watching the game, Drew, and they're saying that you guys are all in a hotel, and it's basically a bubble. Can you talk about how you're living and what is the nationality of some of these players?
Yeah, okay. Great question. I'll tell you, like I said, I knew about the Spring League, but I just knew of it. I didn't know anything about it. And learning the concept of this Spring League, it's actually a hell of a concept, in my opinion. If you look at it, so there's 6 teams. I believe there's 6 teams, and you just play a round robin. You get 4 games. You play a round robin. 5th game is a championship. And so, and you're right. It's we're all staying in the Westin on the Riverwalk down here in San Antonio. We practice and play in the Alamo Dome. So I mean, it's a hell of a facility, and it's just a great, I mean, like I said, it's, we're here in the hotel. They put us up in a hotel. We get 3 meals a day. You get to enjoy, all the stuff that San Antonio has. I mean, I know you're not outside, but I mean, it's T-shirt and shorts out there right now, and so it's actually a sweet deal. You get these guys all over, coaches all over. And to go to it, yeah, there's internationals here too. Like we have a receiver, Yoshido Omi. So we call him Omi the homie. And this kid is legit. Like, I'm serious. I mean, I was blown away. I mean, here's a because we had the two in BC last year from Mexico receivers. I mean, this kid here is on a completely different level than those other guys. So if CFL is looking for an international receiver, I got one for you because this kid, he's legit.
Well, to me, it's for you guys, it's about development. I feel it's a lot about entertainment. And John in Edmonton's watching. He says, how can we watch these games? Where are they broadcasted? They're on Fox Sports 1, John, and if you can find a way to get it, then you can watch it. I have it, and that's why I was very eager to tune in. But let me ask you about your quarterback, J.T. Barrett. Like, they were very excited in Ohio, in Columbus, to watch him the other night, and he did not disappoint. And you and him seem to have a pretty special relationship. Can you talk about your quarterback with the Alphas?
Yeah, no, he's a great player. He's a great leader. Have a lot of respect for him on and off the field, how he just holds himself and conducts himself. And then on top of that, yeah, being a good player, right? He's from Texas too, played in the Big Ten, had a lot of success, and now he's just looking for a home. And I definitely think that he could play in Canada. I think Edmonton might have his rights. I think we talked about with him, but he's not. Just right now with everything going on, he's not sure what's going on. I'm sure he's going to want to try the XFL. But I told him, hey, there's a place up there that if you just want to play ball and have fun, the CFL is not a bad place for that and what it offers. And but we got 2 more games, and I do expect him to take another step every opportunity that he gets.
1 second, Frenzy, 1 second. We've got many more questions coming in, and I'll try to get to those. But so, were you allowed in the facility to watch the early game? Because in the NHL, you wouldn't have been, right? They clear out. There's an hour and a half in between games in the bubble. But McLeod Bethel Thompson diced the Blues. He was playing for the Aviators, and he was doing spins like he did look like Doug Flutie. They couldn't get a hand on him. Was that his age and experience?
I think so. I'll be honest with you. If you can play quarterback in the CFL, you can play quarterback in any league on this planet. And I really, truly, honestly believe that because you got 12 guys, everyone's running in motion. The defenses in Canada, you just have to watch and react. Down in 11-man ball as a quarterback, it's easier to identify defenses. They have to declare quicker. So, in the CFL game, they all just kind of hang out at around 6 to 8 yards, and they'll still play man, but they won't chase, and they just fall into stuff. And so I think it's a lot harder to see coverage in Canada and really execute because you have to be an exceptional thrower, in my opinion, to be a starter in the CFL because, with the wide open game and all those, the throwing and stuff, it's to me, like I said, it's just if you can play quarterback in CFL, you can play anywhere.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think it's helped him. I mean, clearly he's the best quarterback here by far. And I remember last year scouting him, I had him high, even though he was kind of, before the 2019 season, I had to do a report for BC and I had him ahead of James Franklin or whatever, sorry if I said his name wrong, the other quarterback in Toronto. I mean, I thought, watching Bethel and just he has ability, but then, he just kind of does goofy things sometimes with the ball. I think it's fair to say that, but he's a good player.
We got a lot of questions coming in for you, and one is from Chris in Toronto. He wants to know, how is the Spring League funded? Who's in charge of it? Do you know or care about that, or are you just coaching, Drew? What do you know about that?
Well, now that I'm in it, I'd like to, I'm trying to figure out more about it. There's a guy named Brian Woods. He's the CEO. I think he's based out of New York. I'm not really sure where he's based out of, but this is his league. He's the commissioner. He's the CEO. I mean, he runs the show. He calls makes the rules. I mean, it should be NFL rules, but I think there's a couple of tweaks here and there. But he's got his own footballs with his own name on it. Fox Sports and all that stuff on those balls. And but like I said, I applaud him for this idea and concept. I mean, think about it. I mean, he's got like an equipment team, right, who supplies all these pads and all these uniforms to all these, these 6 teams. And then there's a showcase before we started the Spring League, there's a showcase. So guys are already assembled teams. And then there's a showcase of 200 players that are trying out to get on these teams. So, the first 3 days of practice while we were here, we'd go to the showcase before practices would start, all the coaches. And basically, you could just watch. It's like you could watch these guys practice and you say, no, I want you, and I want you. And then they come and get on their team. I mean, it's it's kind of goofy, but like I said, it's the concept's actually it's pretty cool.
How many? What's the fan attendance like?
None.
No fans.
They're in a bubble, yeah.
No bubble, none at all.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of the guys, I think, families or something like that are around, but there's no one there.
Can you give us some names of a couple other guys that we would know from the CFL that are up there?
There's Jeff Reinbold, Marcel Belfay. Let's see. Bethel Thompson. Trying to think.
Glanville.
I met some other guys. Man, I think they may have been in and out of the league, and then, like I said, there's some CIS and CFL coaches here. So I mean, it's actually pretty sweet. June Jones was here about a week.
I'm writing these names down as you go. Reinbold, Belfay, June Jones. Reinbold's coming on our show right away, and actually, he's super active on social media, Reinbold, as you probably know. So some people spotted that he was in San Antonio, and a lot of people didn't know why. But I got a couple questions for you, Coach Tate, before I let you go. One is, Manziel played in this league a couple of years ago. Was anybody that's there now around then? And what did they say about his time, if so?
Yes, there were guys that are here now that were with him, and I'll just say that they pretty much said what everybody saw with him in camp.
Yeah. What everybody says. So. Yeah, exactly. And then anybody in College Station would say the exact same thing. The other thing, I went and looked at all the rosters. The guys were, for the most part, 22, 23, maybe some at 24. It's a very young league.
Yeah, right. And like I said, too, the concept is these guys just want to try to get on a roster. They want film, so their agents will, pump them up and this and that. And I mean, and guys they'll get plucked from this league because there's no other football going on. So, Lord willing, if we can get football in 2021 in the CFL, the XFL, these guys will have an opportunity because they have film and they'll be ready to roll. I mean, if we can play ball.
I just got to say this, man, watching you the other night, running up and down the sidelines, pulling your mask, trying to talk. You look more fired up doing that than you ever did as a player, and you actually said the last time on here you might like coaching more than playing. Is that a fact? Because that's what it looked like.
That's 100% fact. Because the thing about it was, too, and this is why I love the coaching part. From game 1 to game 2, we took a leap like unknown to mankind. We looked like a monkey trying to hump a football in the game 1. I mean, we were bad on offense. Everything about it was terrible. But the guys took pride in getting better. They took coaching. So we took more time. I mean, and obviously you're going to take a step because the first game is just a little goofy and no one knows what to expect. But to see the growth from the players get better, that's what coaching is to me. And it's fun to watch them just go out and play and have fun and be successful because they made plays. They didn't make, like I said, they didn't make a play the first game. Not one play out of 58 snaps. They made plays this last game.
They did, and I'm glad that I tuned in then. Some long field goals, and I might not have known who these guys were, but it was entertaining. That's what I'm saying. You're developing them, you're coaching them. I'm just watching from the entertainment aspect, and I thought it was awesome. Yeah. So I guess I tuned in for the right game, and you got me hooked now, Drew. So, and I'm also excited that your future now, your career path is set because you know what you want to do. And you'll be following your passion, and that's going to be fun to watch too. So, thanks, Coach Tate. I appreciate it. Stay safe, and I hope to do it again soon.
Yeah, you too, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, we'll be watching. Drew Tate joining us from San Antonio, Texas, in the San Antonio bubble. Which, when I was watching the game the other night, I went to my weather app and saw that in San Antonio it was 28 degrees Celsius. So that's around 85, 87 Fahrenheit, Lynch. I'm like, why can't I be in the bubble? San Antonio is so awesome.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of the Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.